Now we will look at a very interesting area of research, which is split brain research. Split brain is a term to describe the results when the corpus callosum connecting the two hemispheres, the left hemisphere and the right hemispheres of the brain, is damaged to some extent. It is an association of symptoms produced by disruption of or interference with the connection between the hemispheres of the brain. Now, in split brain syndrome, a patient suffers from the personality disorder, and the right hemisphere, which basically controls left hand and foot, starts acting independently of the left hemisphere and person's ability to make logical decisions. Now, this gives rise to basically split personality cases in which left hemisphere issues orders and reflects person's rational goals, and right hemisphere issues conflicting demands, which basically reveals hidden desires of a person. So split brain is one where there is a mismatch and left hemisphere takes over, and then right hemisphere issues entirely conflicting demands. Now we will look at certain cases with regard to this split brain syndrome. You have in front of you the anatomical details of two hemispheres, left visual field, right visual field. You have retina, then left hemisphere, right optic chiasm and corpus callosum. Now, the nervous system in human is predominantly contralateral, which means that one half of the brain controls the other half of the body. The contralateral structure allows investigators to test more precisely the function of the two hemispheres in the split brain patient by presenting stimuli to just one side of the brain and observing the resulting behavior. The goal of these studies is basically to determine what skills are lateralized to one or the other side of the brain. In one of the studies on this conducted by Sperry in 1968, the study was conducted on split brain patients, and they were asked what they saw in terms of the study or the issues they were encountered. Now, in the study, the patients were shown a picture of a spoon in her left visual field and was asked what she saw. She replied, "No, nothing." Then she was asked to select with her left hand the object from an array that was out of sight, and she correctly picked out the spoon from a group of common objects. When asked what she was holding, she responded, "Nothing." When she asked to reach for the object with her right hand, she performed at a chance level, as likely to pick up a straw or a pencil as a spoon. These results may be interpreted in the light of the way information gets processed by the two hemispheres. When a stimulus is presented to the left visual field, the right hemisphere of split brain patient becomes aware of the stimulus and is able to communicate that awareness in non-verbal ways, such as grabbing an object with the left hand, which is controlled by the right hemisphere. Because speech is predominantly controlled by the left hemisphere, the patient is unable to describe what she has seen. Moreover, the right hand is incompetent to find the correct object because the left hemisphere does not know what the object is. Now, in the nature of the right hemisphere skills, certain aspects of language are better represented in the right hemisphere than others. So, another study conducted by Gezeniga and Hilliard presented split brain patients with simple pictures depicting visual scenes. After the scene, the subject was auditorily presented with 2 sentences and asked which one correctly described the picture. On this test, the patients proved to be incapable of distinguishing between sentences. The sentences such as, "The boy washes the hands," or the sentence, "The girl washes the hands." Further testing revealed that these subjects could not deal properly with the future tense by distinguishing between "the girl is driving," "the girl will drive," or with the difference between singular and plural noun in sentences. The single grammatical feature they dealt with properly was that of affirmative versus negative sentences such as, "The girl is sitting," "The girl is not sitting." These results are even more impressive when compared with the generally successful performance of these subjects on tests that required only comprehension of a single noun. That is, they correctly responded to boy and a girl. It appears that the right hemisphere has at best very rudimentary syntactic mechanism, but that the mechanism needed to retrieve single words from semantic memory are much better developed. In addition, syntactic deficit relative to the left hemisphere, the right hemisphere also shows phonetic deficits. The right hemisphere may be capable of matching the sounds of words as complete auditory image, so to meaning, but it is deficient in the phonetic analysis of these sounds. For example, the right hemisphere might comprehend the meaning of ache and lake without knowing that they rhyme. Now, in split brain patients, they have also shown that right hemisphere, although it may possess some abilities to comprehend language, is seriously deficient in language production. The emerging picture of right hemisphere language is that it is organized along different cognitive lines than left hemisphere language. The right hemisphere is weak in syntactic and expressive skills, but less too in terms of semantic processes and comprehension. So these are number of researches on split brain research. By and large, the right hemisphere in this split brain syndrome acts independently of the left hemisphere. Thus, studies of split brain patients clarify the respective roles of the left and right hemispheres in the use of language.